And that, my friends, is how it looks like to be a hodler of Bitcoin. It's a very, very volatile asset, goes up and down, and people lose their shit when it goes down and they sell. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, depending where you are joining us in the world. And welcome to another Breakout Solutions and Decrypting Crypto live stream, where we are going to cover all the latest news updates, all the latest market updates, Twitter highlights, as well as adoption highlights. My name is Wasim, and I'm your host for Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So without any further ado, we're going to get into the news today. We've got a lot of big news today. We've got news around the First Republic Bank losing billions of dollars in customer deposits. ARK Invest is going for another Bitcoin ETF, and we've got Bitcoin strengthening correlations with gold, as well as looking at the market, what's going on in Twitter, and some really, really interesting adoption highlights, including the anticipated opening of the retail crypto market in Hong Kong, which should bring a lot of money into the crypto market, and what's happening in Argentina, as well as other places around the world with hyperinflation. Some good news and just plain old news coming up today. So let's get started, guys. First up, we have our First Republic Bank loses $102 billion in customer deposits. So last month back in March, we had obviously Silvergate, SVB, as well as what was that one? Signature Bank collapsing. Well, Signature Bank didn't really collapse; it just closed down by the SEC in their crackdown on crypto and trying to stop crypto onboarding. But this has now caused, as we've spoken about in the past, it's caused a bit of a contagion. We had Deutsche Bank had to get bought out by Swiss Bank. And we've got our First Republic Bank now losing $102 billion in customer deposits. So the regional bank received $30 billion lifeline from big banks last month, but depositors and investors remained worried about this prospect. For the First Republic Bank, the most imperiled U.S. lender after last month's banking crisis, on Monday disclosed the grisly details of just how troubled the business is and not much else. So the bank has highly anticipated first update to investors since entering a free fall over the past month, and its leader said little. In a conference call to discuss the first quarter results with Wall Street analysts, the bank's executive offered just 12 minutes of prepared remarks and declined to take questions, leaving investors and the public with few answers about how it would a crater. When a bank feels like it has few options remaining, it starts to play by its own rules, Timothy Coffey said, a bank analyst at Janley Montgomery Scott. Every day, every week from now until whenever is going to be fighting for them. So basically, the bank is in free fall. It's lost a lot of its shares, and its share price has plummeted. It's lost $92 billion. It's borrowed $92 billion and lost a lot of its customers' funds, even though it received $30 billion from larger banks. So we've been saying this, guys, for a few months now. The banking crisis is not over. We haven't seen the end of it. There's going to be, I believe, there'll be more news coming in the next few months with more and more banks failing. All right, now moving over to ARK Invest, and 21 shares again filed with the SEC for a Bitcoin ETF. So they've already filed twice for a Bitcoin ETF, and both times it has failed. So what we're seeing now is that they are applying for the third time, and they're hoping that they'll be lucky this time around. There has been some changes in the way that SEC looks at exchanges, as we spoke about a couple of weeks ago. So this can potentially bring crypto under the SEC, which will give it a wider range. Now, the problem is that what I have with this is that SEC has already approved a number of Bitcoin futures ETFs. Futures ETFs works around the future anticipated price of Bitcoin. So you're trying to guess what the price is going to be, speculate what the price is going to be, and that's how the ETF works, which in my opinion is a lot riskier than a Bitcoin spot ETF, because a Bitcoin spot ETF, all that it means is you have exposure to the asset without actually holding the asset. Personally, I wouldn't get into an ETF anyway. I'd rather hold my own Bitcoin. But for some investors that don't want to hold their own Bitcoin, they just want to have access or have exposure to the price of Bitcoin. So spot ETF just goes up and down with the price of Bitcoin, which in my opinion and in the opinion of a lot of crypto investors is a much safer ETF than a futures ETF, because a futures ETF, you're trying to predict the future price. So it's very speculative. While with Bitcoin ETF or spot ETF, you're just going with the price of Bitcoin. The price of Bitcoin goes up, the ETF goes up. Price of Bitcoin goes down, it goes down. So it's back to 1-to-1. So interesting to see how this falls out. Some people on Twitter have said that we could expect a Bitcoin spot ETF by early summer 2023. So that would be around mid-year for us, so around June, July, August, because that's what I think was when the summer is over there. So we'll see what happens. And Grayscale is continuing to push for this. Now, you've got to remember, other countries do have a Bitcoin spot ETF. We've got one here in Australia. There's one in Canada, and other countries do have a spot ETF. But in America, they still don't have one. All right, last but not least with the news highlights. So the last one is Bitcoin's correlation with gold strengthens as investors chase safe havens. So this is as the banking crisis keeps going, and as it happened, investors started to look for safe havens, and safe havens are usually in the form of gold, silver, precious metals, as well as Bitcoin and other cryptos. So what we're starting to see is that's one of the reasons why we've had such a big increase in the price of Bitcoin over the past almost 4 months now. You know, it's almost doubled in price from its low of 15,400 or whatever it is. But now we're starting to see that the correlation between Bitcoin is surging against gold. So what it actually means is the Bitcoin gold correlation is a measure of how assets price move over time. The correlation often comes into play as investors look to alternative stores of value and safe haven assets. As a result, the prices are more susceptible to economic headwinds than those other assets and commodities. So the world's most popular cryptocurrency has been the best performing one in quarter one of 2023, gaining 70%, while gold has only gone up by 9.5% and silver has only gone up by 0.3%. So all the gold bugs out there, they keep talking about, gold is going to explode, gold's going to explode. Bitcoin is up, double digits, 70% in the last 4 months, or the first 3 months. This is for the first quarter, so that was the end of March, while gold's only done less than 10%. However, what gold does have going for it is, at the moment, we've got a lot of central banks are now looking at gold and increasing the gold reserves. We've been seeing this throughout 2022. We've seen it more and more through 2023. We've spoken about Turkey, Russia, China. A lot of these countries, especially the BRICS countries, are accumulating more gold, and that gives us the question, or that poses the question: what are they going to do with it? Are they going to, release a new currency that's backed by commodities, but like gold and oil, or what are they actually doing? We actually don't know how much gold China has, because they don't export any of their gold. They hoard all the gold that they mine within their country, and they import more. So potentially China could have the world's largest gold reserve. And on the flip side of that, the US gold reserves have not been audited in many years. So we have no idea how much gold the US actually has. All right, moving on. Let's look at the crypto bubbles. We've got here a mixed week with some up, some down. You got Hex down, FTT down. Bitcoin has taken a bit of a plunge this week. It's gone down to just over, I think it was just over 29,000. We'll have a look at that in a second. But it's been a turbulent week. So it's actually up 4.5% this week. So it's gone down. That's right, because I was DCAing last week and the price is almost down 28,000. Then it went down to 27,000 and it's gone up now to just over 29,490 right now, which is up 2.26%. So Bitcoin is going to try and push that $30,000 resistance. We spoke about this a little while ago, where Plan B is predicting that by this time next year, when the next halving starts, Bitcoin will be around $60,000. So it's still got another 100% to go this year. It's going to be a choppy year all up, but it is the time. This is the year to be accumulating, guys. All right, looking at the crypto fear and greed index, we are back in greed at number 64. So yesterday was 59, last week was 50, and last month was 57. So the industry or the investors are starting to come back in, and they start to look for looking at Bitcoin as a safe haven, as we mentioned before. Now, looking at the Twitter highlights. So we've got some interesting Twitter highlights today. First up, we've got a video that was posted by Coinbase. So recently, I think this was back in February, I think maybe January. Coinbase was issued a Wells notice by the SEC, and this Wells notice is basically the SEC's intention to sue Coinbase. And Coinbase has come back hitting hard with this video. Basically, what they said is, we've been trying to work with the SEC. We've been requesting clarification. We've been requesting clarity. We've been requesting open dialogue with the SEC, and it has not come back from the SEC. Now, excuse me. Now they want to sue us, and we will defend ourselves. We'll defend ourselves vigorously in the court. However, we prefer not to go down this path, and we prefer an open dialogue. So it's a pretty big ballsy move by Coinbase, if you ask me, because they just put the SEC on show. Say, hey, you want to go to war? We'll go to war, but we would rather not. We'd rather sit around a table and discuss ways of working and moving forward. Next up, we've got Bitcoin Magazine, and it just said, just in 986 Bitcoin wallets reportedly controlled by Russian military, security, and intelligence agencies has been identified according to chain analysis. And then the market or the crypto enthusiasts have just come back and said, well, who cares? Bitcoin is everybody's money. It's our money. It's your enemy's money. It's there for everyone to use, which is what makes it so powerful. Because since nobody can control Bitcoin, it doesn't matter if your enemy has it or you have it. It's in both of our interests to make sure that Bitcoin succeeds. This is where Bitcoin can actually create peace around the world, because people won't fight over money. In fact, people collaborate to make Bitcoin a more valuable and a higher store of value, because no one has control over it. So basically, that's what the market has responded to this. Next up, we've got Robinhood, which is now introducing our latest investment in crypto, Robinhood Connect, which is a low-cost on-ramp for customers and a seamless integration for developers. So this is a new feature in Robinhood app, which basically allows people to onboard their cash into crypto. So this is going to be great for the retail investors of people who don't have a lot of money. I don't know what they're fixing. In America, there's been a big crackdown on crypto on-ramps, and for Robinhood to now turn around and say, hey, here's a way that you can onboard your cash onto crypto, it makes a massive difference. So it'll be good for the market. All right, guys, last but not least, we have our adoption highlights. So first up, we've got Bitcoin price hits new record high in Argentina. So Argentina's peso has crashed 99% versus the US dollar since the beginning of the currency crisis in 2018. Argentina's inflation pushes Bitcoin price to all-time high. So the all-time high went up to 6.5 million Argentinian pesos, according to aggregated price data tracker from Google Finance. Since the peak, that rate has corrected to around 6 million pesos and around 9%, but down 9%, but still more than 100% up year to date. So this shows that Bitcoin is growing in Argentina, because people are looking for a safe haven. Right now in Argentina, $1 is 460 pesos, and which is almost double the official rate of 220. Now, we've spoken about this. In countries where the money gets debased and loses its value, it then creates a black market. This black market doesn't always correlate to what the actual market is. So, for example, in Lebanon, I spoke to you guys a number of times about this. The dollar has gone up to 80,000 lira right now, or 80,000 pounds, while the official rate is only 15,000 pounds. So there's a black market there that people try to use as for trading because they don't trust the currency, the local currency. And this is exactly what's happening. This is why countries like this, like Lebanon, like Argentina, they need Bitcoin, because Bitcoin gives them stability. And this is why we're seeing that more and more Argentinians are actually moving to Bitcoin. They're moving their wealth to Bitcoin. Even Coinbase has recommended for Argentina to make Bitcoin as a legal tender, like they did in El Salvador, because it will solve a lot of their problems. Okay, next up, we've got Hong Kong crypto licensing regime expected to launch next month. So the licensing regime for crypto firms is expected to launch in May, with access to retail traders slated for June 1st per Hong Kong's finance regulator. So we spoke a little bit about this already. This is quite big news because Hong Kong is part of China. And it's part of mainland China, and crypto at the moment in mainland China is illegal. So this is going to allow a lot of Chinese investors to be able to invest through the Hong Kong market. And it's going to allow, even though right now there are some exchanges out there, there's a lot of restrictions on retailers. Retail investors. This is going to open up the retail investment, and that's going to bring a flood of money into crypto. So this is actually very, very bullish news in my opinion. Because we're going to see Chinese people coming back into the market. We know there are 1 billion people out there, right? All right. And last but not least, guys, we've got Google Cloud partners with Polygon Labs building Web3 products. So Google Cloud will give rise to blockchain node engine soon and meet support building Web3 products on Polygon. So Consensus 23 conducted by Coindesk, Google Cloud partnered with Polygon Lab to support their protocol and include Proof of Stake, SuperNet, and ZK-EVM respectively. This will enhance developers for the process of building Web3 products on Ethereum-based L2. So basically, they're putting money out there. The program, which is now the Polygon Ventures, is going to receive $200,000 in credits, and is going to allow developers to be able to build better on Polygon. That's it for the news, adoption, market update, and Twitter highlights, guys. And that's it for me for another wrap up for the week. It's a great week. We've got some exciting things happening. We do have an AMA, guys. If you are around next Wednesday, we're going to do an AMA on Wednesday morning as well as Wednesday evening, where we're going to look at the geopolitical environment, what's happening with the BRICS, what's happening with the de-dollarization, how is this going to affect Bitcoin, and what this new IMF token that I spoke about last week and what this actually means for you. So if you are around, join us, and we'll be putting up a link on this on my Facebook as well as in our Facebook group. So make sure you join us. And if you are watching on YouTube, please like, subscribe, and put on the notification bell. It means a lot for us because we want to get this message out there. Thank you very much, guys. Have a great day, and see you guys next week. Peace out.